Yo, this is WSoul13, bringing you Raid Shadow Legends. I thought I'd try something a little bit different today. So we're gonna go through the Fusion Champs of 2021, and I'm doing this while I'm on the treadmill. Yeah, cardio is the most boring part of any kind of workout program, but Raid does actually help. You have access to a treadmill. You play Raid while you're doing your treadmill thing. Alright, so we're going to be looking at 2021's Fusion Champs and how I see the Fusion Champs, right? I got a stand or something. And we're just going to rank them. And then I'll let you know how I did in my calls for them throughout last year. If they were good to pull for like F2P low spender or whatever. Sipping on my vitamin drink. Alright, so first things first. I already put all the champs in the vault, so I'm probably gonna have to go through them through here, right? So I think the first one is Bannerlord, and it's Sigmund, who I didn't get. All right, so the first one we're gonna look at is Sigmund, the High Shield. So I have him ranked bottom. So the only ones I ranked were the 13 Fusion Champs. I didn't rank the Epic Champs. So there, you could make an argument for the Epic Champs, I guess. But in my opinion, there was clearly one Epic Champ that was head and shoulders above the rest, and that's Demetha, that they made available last year. So Demetha actually came with Sigmund Fusion. So I think that by default kind of puts Sigmund at the bottom of the list. So if you pick Sigmund over Demetha, you know, it's because you probably like that his A1 removes shield buffs, so that's a thing. Or that his A2 can provoke on 3-turn cooldown. Only lasts for 1 turn, but it also puts decrease attack on. You know, that's not bad. The decrease attack goes up to 100%, I think, with books, so it's good for clan boss. And then you put shields on and strengthen. What's this passive? 20% chance of decreasing the duration of all buffs on the attacker every time he's attacked. Not really a big passive there. And then the aura is a defense aura. So yeah, I think Sigmund might be the bottom of the champs last year, not because of his playability, but because of the circumstances around his fusion event. So we're gonna move on to the next guy, which is gonna be, I think, Billrax. Where's my boy at? Is he demon spawned? Oh yeah, he is. Huh, I got it right. So Billrax, A1 Leech, it's not bad. Leech is always pretty good. The reason why I put Billrax at the bottom is just because right now he doesn't have a place in the game. That's basically it right there. Like right now, there's really no reason to play him. Like all the other Fusion Champs that I'm gonna be rattling off right now, all have kind of a place in the game, right? Billrax, I'm not quite so sure because Hex isn't a big deal yet. Hex will be a big deal over time. So if you got Billrax for that reason, you wanted an epic champ that can enable Hex, honestly, it's not bad. The A1 Leech, always good to have. This is why you got him though. 3-turn cooldown on a AoE Hex to enable Hex. If Hex becomes a thing later. What is this? Increasing duration of enemy debuffs. So that's not bad. And then this little steal the heal thing. Is it? This is the one, right? That steals the heal. Yeah, it's not quite good. But this one is actually not bad. Increase accuracy in all battles by 40. So that's a great aura early in the game. So there could be some people that literally had Billrax as their first fusion. I mean, it's fine. My first fusion was Skull-Lord Bargal. And it was like a special fusion where you were like, all you're doing was Chapter 2, the Sewers of Arnok runs over and over again till you can get enough Skull Sworns. And then you fuse them into Drakes, and you fuse the Drakes into Skull-Lord Bargal. So I think you understand why Billrax is ranked very low. Next up on the list is Rorik Wormbane. Is he a barbarian? So we do have a lot of fusion champs in the barbarian faction. Yep, we do. So Rorik, why is he? I mean, if you take Sigmund out of the mix, why would I rank him the lowest of all the fusion champs? When a lot of people thought Vlad was relatively useless or whatever. We'll get to that. So my personal opinion on Rorik is that I said it when I put the analysis out for him, that he was trying to do two things at the same time. And those two things are not necessarily always compatible. So one is a control with the stuns, right? So he puts this stun out on his A1. And then the other one is another stun that can decrease turn meter 75%. Right? So, you know. The reason why they did that is because they put a stun on it. But honestly, if this was fully deplete turn meter, it would make a world of a difference, I think. And then, of course, he has this A1 attacks one enemy, ignore 50% of the target's depth. So the ignore 50% depth is not quite as strong as you'd want it to be. So really, his role is supposed to be some kind of like control/damage champ for Doom Tower waves. It just doesn't work out that way. So I've seen comps where they've had him beat Bommel hard 50 or Dark Fae hard 80, which are pretty amazing feats, but at the same time, you know, it's lagging behind some of what the other legendaries can do. And the only other reason why you would use him is he's in Barbarians. Like this aura. Increase ally speed, all battles 19%. That's High Cthulhu's aura, you know. If this was a little bit higher, maybe there would be a reason to use her over High Cthulhu, right? Can't be stunned, and then 15% more damage to bosses, 15% less damage from bosses. So I haven't seen a like clan boss build with Rorik that, you know, that was focused on him and had him doing a lot of damage. I haven't really seen it. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying I haven't seen it. So yeah, that's why I'm putting Rorik a little bit lower. Barbarians are not really a high priority faction to clear because you get High Cthulhu, get Silver Drakes, War Maiden. That's a pretty easy faction to clear in my humble opinion. So next up is Vlad. So a lot of people would probably rate Vlad really low and would probably even go as far as to say, well, he might be the worst. But there has been a little bit of a development on Vlad. I think that, for me, makes him deserving of a second look, right? So the way I called him was that he was being lambasted as much as Skull-Lord Bargal or Guptuk were when they first came out, you know, and we all know that they're pretty much niche champs still, but they're very good at the niche thing they do, right? So this one has the decreased max HP on the A1, and then, oopsie daisy, I didn't want to do that. Let me turn it off. There we go. And then you put leech on, while also being able to steal turn meter. Oh, if they're from Bannerlord or whatever. Okay. So basically just leech on this one. And then you can put decreased def on and block active skills. And then if you put them all both on, you get perfect veil, which is great. And then revive on death every time you kill an enemy. Fully heals their champion, fills their meter. Okay. Alright. So, seems like an ordinary kit, right? Seems like an ordinary kit. Vlad actually enables a all nuker comp for Dark Fey 120. That's it. That's why having a champ enable a kill of a boss of the highest difficulty, even though that may be the only boss that champ will ever be useful at, you should really consider that highly, honestly, because these are like situations where there's like a single out for something, or there's like a very limited number of outs for something, and you've basically pocketed that value already, right? That's why I think Vlad is deserving of kind of like a second look and just say, okay, maybe not as bad as we initially thought, you know. And I think that's true. So the next one is going to be Yoshi. So Yoshi is also kind of like everyone was dunking on this boy, right? You know, rightly so, I think. I think rightly so that they should be dunking on Yoshi because he's not that great. But Shadowkin Faction Wars is out. And if you've been paying attention to my stuff, one of the things I preach is making sure that you do the fusion events because it fills out your roster. That helps you with Faction Wars. You know, it doesn't matter which stage of the game you are, it does help you with Faction Wars. He brings ally speed or speed aura, all battles, 90%. So like I said, the benchmark there is High Katoon. Anything lower than that is bad. If it's parity with High Katoon, it's not great. Right, because like High Katoon is better. But at the same time, he brings this aura to Shadowkin, so, you know, that could be a thing. And then what he does is stun on his A1. Stun is always good, although not very reliable on the A1, but it's always good. The next one is decreased accuracy and HP burn. Alright. 75% chance of decreased accuracy and 50% chance of HP burn. So he's like a AoE HP burn, but only goes up to 75% chance. 80 with sniper. That's actually not bad. That's good enough to get through spiders. So, you know, it's actually pretty good. But really, his value has gone up because of Faction Wars, in my opinion. And this is one of the things that you really want from a champ like this, which is increased accuracy buff, right? Never mind increased attack. And then 50% chance of placing True Fear debuff on all enemies per turn. 75% chance on enemies under increased attack buff. That's kind of weird. It's definitely a little bit weird. But yeah, I think Yoshi is definitely an underrated champ, in my opinion. But now he's even better because of Shadowkin Faction Wars. Next up is the only fusion champ I missed last year because I missed the Dungeon Divers event. Alright, so I forgot who the epics were for Mother Cybel actually. So I don't know if I considered that in my list. I may have to take another look because I forgot who they were. But if you did end up using Mother Cybel, I think they found a lot of niche uses for her. I know her kit is confusing as heck, and I'm not gonna like spend too much time kind of like analyzing everything she does. But AOE decreased speed on the A1, strong. That's a strong A1. And then you get revive on death, increased death on this A2. You gotta book down the 3-turn cooldown, which would be ideal. This one you can also book down the 3-turn cooldown. This is the ally swap HP thing, right? And then, you know, different things happen. Whichever ally ends up, whichever of these two champs end up with a higher HP. But really, the main reason to use her, in my opinion, is that A1 and this increased ally speed in all battles by 24%. So actually, they found some really niche plat arena uses for Mother Cybel. So that alone right there puts her value up. Even though most of us are never going to play in plat arena anyway. But just that availability of that option, when they, especially if they make PvP a thing later on, like live action PvP, you know? Live action. Live. Like, live, I guess, in person, live? I don't know what the term is. Maybe just live PvP. Or real time. There we go, that's... Alright, so, yeah. She's strong in Doom Tower, actually. You wouldn't really mind having her for Doom Tower, because 24% speed aura is really good in Doom Tower. The only thing she doesn't bring would be the increased accuracy buff. Would have been great if she had it, but she doesn't. I mean, you know, you're gonna have to pick between accuracy aura and speed aura. For some people, speed is harder to find. Some people, accuracy is harder to find. So, you know, she kind of like helps you decide, right? So yeah, Mother Cybel, also another one that people thought was bad, but actually ended up being pretty good. Faction Wars, she'll be fine. She's good in Faction Wars. Decreased speed is good in Faction Wars. AoE decreased speed is good. Then you could probably put her on stun set or something, so have some more control out, yeah. So the next one on the list is also in the same crypt. Versalt the Grim. Versalt I've rated higher than all the other champs so far. Mainly because while, you know, he can be a control champ or dungeon waves or whatever. You put leech on, extra hit on enemies under. Okay, so if you he combos well with like another control piece for like dungeons or whatever, and then you can put leech. But really, the leech is a separate thing, right? Attacks all enemy, places extra hit. Yeah, then each hit has 75%. Oh yeah. So could be potentially strong. And he's got great multipliers, so he hits hard. But really, the reason why you use him right now is for this right here, increased depth and ally protect. This passive doesn't really come into play. Ally HP all battles, 30%. That's actually not bad. Okay, so check this out. The thing that you really want from Versalt is actually this A3. This is good in Clan Boss, while also putting on Leech. And also, he scales off HP, so you can like bump up his health really high, and he deals a lot of damage. And he's actually in as a support / damage champ for an Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss team. You know, so that alone is deserving of a mention, in my opinion, right? So I think that takes care of the bottom half of the fusion champs. So as you can see, the bottom half is more like niche uses, right? But they're still strong. Like you can bring him in Faction Crypt just fine. If you have him and Mother Cybel in the same time, bring them both in Faction Crypt. I think it's a great little combo you can do. It'll do well, right? Mother Cybel with stun. Set can put the stuns out, then he can have that extra hit on those people. The stuns out. So now we got to look at, I think, the better fusion champs now. So we're starting to hit like these are like the champs that are really good that they gave us last year. And the first one has got to be Ashland. So why is Ashland so good? The reason why he's so good is because he removes all buffs from targets under Veil or Perfect Veil. So he takes Veil or Perfect Veil away and puts Weaken on them, right? While also putting Stun on the rest, on everybody as well. This is a strong move. It counters Duchess in Arena. And then the other one is attacks one enemy, ignore increased depth and strengthen and ally protect. Revives random ally, 40% life. If this attack kills an enemy, also places shield buff. So yeah, he is a nuker. Right, social champion 3% every time ally is hit. Decrease incoming 25% if the attacker is attack is lower than the champion. So any nuker in arena with damage mitigation, like Ashland, is a strong nuker. With like, of course, granted that the multipliers are there. So for Ashland, the multipliers are there. And this, because it scales with attack, and attack is what you want to bump him up on anyway. Most likely, anything that hits him will have a lower attack than him, unless it's another nuker, you know. So in that case, it's going to be a toss-up, right? So if you manage to put increased attack on first, well then, Ashland's probably going to survive that hit. If they put increased attack on first, then obviously Ashland is going to lose that fight, right? But yeah, that's the reason why he's so strong. He brings stun and nuke in the same skill, and you can take Veil away. So that's an arena thing. It's really strong, but actually he's just fine in dungeon waves and stuff as a nuker. He does really well in that role as well. And if you got the guaranteed champ licks, Countess licks for I think 150, they're a really strong combo. Him and Countess licks are a pretty potent combo. I'm not going to be looking at Countess licks today. Well, we'll look at her tomorrow probably, or maybe another day. Next up is Ruel, the Huntmaster. Alright. So let's click on this one. Let's see what's up with our boy Ruel. So I've said this before. He looks like he should be in Skinwalkers, but whatever. He's a Dark Elf instead. Never understood that. You know, for A1 can put decreased depth on. Transfers random debuff from this champ to the target, and the target has Hex. So it's decreased depth with bonus on Hex. Attack all enemies, places extra hit on enemies under Hex. Right? Ignore 25% depth if there are 4 or more enemies under Hex. So this is the money skill right here. So what they do is this one, A3 will put the Hex on. And he has increased accuracy built into his kit. So you don't really have to go crazy with accuracy here. This is why Ruel is so strong. So actually, there's been a lot of comps now, speed comps, that has Ruel in it instead of Seer. And it does really well. I mean, it's not Seer. Obviously, Seer is still the fastest wave clear we have right now. But Ruel is pretty darn close, you know. So if you're one of these people that never pulled a seal, and funny enough, that's exactly how I called him on my when I first did my analysis on him. I called that like almost to a T. that he would be a kind of like a seer light. Actually panned out pretty good, I think. Right? And then speed of enemies under hex goes down by 5%. Resistance goes down by 10%. Yeah, so a lot of like synergy with hex. Crit rate all battles 30%. I mean, maybe it's useful, maybe not. Depends on you. Crit rate all battles is kind of like it's a niche thing because you gotta build around it to get max value out of it. But I think you guys know that by now, right? So Ruel is definitely one of these champs that could change your account, honestly, especially if you don't have Seer available to you. Yeah, so Ashland, Ruel, these champs are all going to be good now, right? So these are all champs that if you spent the time using them, I don't think you'd regret it at all. And honestly, all the champs are worth using, in my opinion, because it just gives you that option open, right? Even if you don't use it, the option is open for you if you need those champs for whatever niche thing they do. So this one is Herndig. Herndig is probably, I think Herndig might be the best nuker that they put out as a fusion last year, right? So they put out a lot of nukers as fusions last year. You had Vlad, you had Ruel, you had Ashland. I think Herndig is probably the best. And the reason why I think he's the best is because his A1 will do the extra turn and decrease the cooldown on his skills. It gives him the snowball effect. The A2 puts decreased defense AoE with decreased accuracy, which isn't as important. But the decreased defense is a big deal, right? It goes up to 100% chance on the decreased defense. The A2 puts on weaken and burn. So he's got decreased defense, weaken, same kit. That's a money combo. He can put HP burn out. If you can like combine him with something like Rosin or something that AoE depletes turn meter, he could put HP burns out for you. So he could be your out for spiders. But really, the thing here is the fully deplete target turn meter. So Herndig has quickly become kind of one of the meta champs for Dark Bay 120. I mentioned Dark Bay a lot in the list. I mentioned Dark Bay a lot in the list because Dark Bay is actually one of those niche Doom Tower bosses that require a very specific team to beat, much like Scarab King. But the thing is, Scarab King can be soloed. I don't know if there's a solo build out for Dark Bay yet. Maybe there is. Just haven't seen it. But really, with Dark Bay, you're building a very specific kind of team. Something that's fragile, something that can nuke, and something with enough sustain and turn meter decrease to finish the fight. So it's a very difficult fight to win, I think, especially in 120, if you don't have the right kind of champs. And having Herndig on your team gives you that kind of like a guaranteed slot of a champ that is like a top tier champ for that boss. At the same time, Herndig is also a strong champ just all around. Like, use him anywhere. He can be your campaign farmer. He can help you. He can probably help you finish Nightmare campaign. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just strong all around. Great faction wars, great dungeons, good spiders, you know. So, the next one up is the last fusion we got, Tatura Reinheit. So, a lot of people can argue that Tatura is the best fusion of last year. I wouldn't really disagree, honestly, because there was a way to get him without pulling shards. So that's it. From a cost-benefit perspective, Tatura might be the best fusion of last year, right? He puts Perfect Veil on, which you want in Hydra Clan Boss. Block debuff, increased defense, which you want in Demon Lord Clan Boss, also in Hydra a little bit. Decreased accuracy on the A1, not such a big deal. And then I think he has this reflect damage. Yeah, when attack reflects 30% of damage this champion receives. Also can freeze. So, you know, That's strong, by the way. It is strong. Allied Death Doom Power Battles, not really that great. But Tatura, you could argue, is one of the best fusions, if not the best fusion from last year, and I'm hearing you on that one, honestly. The reason why I have him at number 4 is just because the other three I'm going to mention can have such a big impact on your account, even though they cost a lot more compared to Tatura, right? But definitely, if you got Tatura last year, you were happy, right? That was the perfect way to cap off the year, was with the Tatura fusion. Now let's take a look at it. Number 3. So we're closing in on finishing the list. Number 3 has to be the person you sacrifice Sigmund for, Demetha. So if Demetha didn't exist, I would probably rate Sigmund about as high as I did for Assault. You know, he's up there, not bad. Control, carry elements, all on point. But Demetha is just leagues better. Not even close, just way better. So she gives you a shield on her A1, which scales off her max HP, which is great. But this is one of the money skills she has, is a buff duration increase with a heal, right? So there are clan boss builds that can take advantage of this. Ergo, my clan boss build, which is the Brognimancer clan boss build. If you haven't seen that yet, look in my channel, look for my Brognimancer videos. It's an amazing comp. It really is an amazing comp. Full auto, does Ultra Nightmare, Nightmare, and Brutal, right? 2 key Ultra Nightmare, 1 key Nightmare, 1 key Brutal, same speeds, full auto, great comp. I love it. And really, the reason why Demetha is top 3 is because she gives you access to Unkillable. Granted that she can't do it by herself. You need another pull to make it work. So I think one of the minimum pulls that you need is a Seeker for her own comps. And then, of course, if you have a Man-Eater, she works with Man-Eater as well. But yeah, really, having a F2P low spender way to guarantee that you get a Unkillable champ piece for the comp, I think is such a big deal, honestly. And I know they asked for a lot of fragments together. I think something like 5,500 points or 6,000, something crazy in terms of points, because you had to play both the summon events together. But I think overall, Demetha was such a great fusion, you know. So now it's the top 2, baby, right? And number 2 has got to be, in my opinion, Iron Brago, the first fusion they gave us last year. And my God, Iron Brago is just a gift that keeps on giving, right? So he's got this passive that converts his defense into a 10% death buff for the rest of the team. So you can scale this up practically infinitely. Of course, there's a cap. So a lot of people do anywhere from 300 to 500 extra death, you know, which is amazing, honestly. So that's a raw addition. So this allows like more fragile, squishier champs to get that raw increase in death without relying on their base death. So the champs with lower base death benefits from this like disproportionately, you know. And to top that all off, he can also put his own increased death buff, right? And then he also has decreased attack and provoke. And then the A1, I think, 20% chance of decreasing duration of all buffs by 1 turn. So, you know, not quite as important. But, and then I think he brings death on Doom Power. Yeah, it's not that big a deal. So really, the reason why Iron Brago is so rated so highly on the list, my list, is because his multipliers are insane. So he's like strong in Clan Boss, really strong in Clan Boss, like Alton strong almost in Clan Boss. And then at the same time, he's great in other content, you know, because he has that provoke. And then also, I have him on so many different teams, and he's built for clan boss, so he's like slow, 170. My clan boss team is slow, even though it's Ultra Knight, my clan boss team. Only run 171 to 179 speed. So, Brago is slow. But I have him farming Griffin boss, hard 90, Griffin boss, he can farm that. I have him in my Doom Tower waves all the way up to 103. So this was before I pulled Seer. And Brago was right there. He was helping my team get through Doom Tower. Even though I wasn't able to complete my Doom Tower run before I got Seer, Brago got me really deep, you know. And a lot of players, I think that, because he was a Fragment Fusion, and if you kind of like went all in and tried to get him there as a Fragment Fusion, that would have been one of the best investments in your account last year, honestly. If you just spent all your gems to try to get him, and then you skip the majority of the year in terms of just recovering your resources, you would have been set, right? So, like, he was that good. But really, none of the fusion champs can compare to how good Under Priest Brogni is. Yeah, that's it. So Under Priest Brogni basically can do whatever Iron Brago does in terms of like utility. Not the damage, though, although you can build him to do damage. He won't do as much damage as Iron Brago, but he can hit hard. But really, he's an archetype of his own. So anytime a champ is an archetype of their own, that is a strong champ. That's like a account-changing champ, right? So the reason why he's an account, he is an archetype of his own is this right here. Whenever ally under shield buff his attack, reflect 25% of the damage inflicted on the shield back to the attacker. Heals that ally 25% of the damage. So not only will it like damage the enemy, it also tops off your champ who's under shield. And this is the crazy part. It triggers Giant Slayer. That's it. So that's why Under Priest Brogni is so strong, because he triggers Giant Slayer. So he has kind of the same thing as Geomancer before they fixed Geomancer, basically. And we thought it was a bug, but apparently it's working as intended, so they haven't fixed it till now. And then not only that, he brings block debuffs and shield of his own, 3-turn cooldown, which is perfect for clan boss. So 2-turn block debuff duration, 3-turn cooldown is like the perfect number for clan boss. You can play him 1-to-1 across all the difficulties and have that protection on for your whole team. So yeah, Under Priest Brogni is probably the best fusion champ of last year. To top that off, this A1 puts HP burn on. I mean, come on, that's crazy. HP burn is kind of like becoming this marquee skill, and Under Priest Brogni can put it on. So, you know, I think the caveat here is that Under Priest Brogni was also one of the most expensive fusions they've ever done before Demetha. I think Demetha and Under Priest Brogni are probably tied in cost, except Under Priest Brogni you have to fuse all the way to the legendary. Demetha was an epic, you know, so that mitigated some of the cost. But in terms of shards, they had about similar, like 5,500 points worth of shards. So really, if all you did last year was Under Priest Brogni, your account would be set. Because like you would have an extremely useful and key piece to your team. But at the same time, he's better when paired with other champs. So in my case, I paired him with Iron Brago, and then Geomancer, who was a guaranteed champ from last year as well, and create this like really strong archetype with Demetha too. So I had Demetha on the team, Under Priest Brogni, Geomancer, Iron Brago, and then Fane. Right? So I think the takeaway here is no matter how strong the top end champ is of last year, if you skip too many fusions, you really run the risk of missing out on a key element of your developing account. So really, this advice is more for like, it's account dependent, right? So everybody has a different account, everybody has different like needs progression wise. But the fusions give you a guaranteed way to access a game effect that would have been walled by summons otherwise. So the randomness of a gacha game, right, it works against you because some game elements are only available to certain champs. And the fusion champs are kind of like usually like a nerf version of that strong effect. That's usually what happens. It's very rare that we get Under Priest Rogni, which is kind of like the strongest possible version of the effect that he gives. You know, usually it's kind of like a little bit less powered, but still really potent, like Krila as an ally attack champ, or like all the nukers we've been given as fusion champs, right? Or like carry champs, revivers, AOE revivers, stuff like that. Control champs, all of them are kind of like not the S tier of that effect, but they give you access to that effect at a very strong rate. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's guaranteed. Well, that's how you should think about fusion event. It's about building your roster, right? So next time we're gonna look at the guaranteed champs and the promo champs of last year, and then we're gonna look at some comps, how I put the teams together and stuff, make them work in whatever various little places that you want them to work in. Alright, man. See you all next time. Bye.